Hello everybody and welcome back to Timberborn, episode 8, and we are under construction, and basically what that means is the metal district. I really want to focus on it. I had a lot of hopes that I would have it completed by the end of this episode, but everything just takes so long. Not only does it take so long, I am running out of resource. Metal is a problem, wood's a problem, everything's a problem. Food ran out. Food ran out badly, and I had 170 beavers. They died of starvation, which isn't against the rules for the permadeath, but they died of starvation. Went down to about 70, 80 beavers, and that put a real strain on being able to build quickly. And I just thought, you know what? Let's just focus on the metal district and set the template out. Let's put the power in. Let's put the metro stations in. Let's work out how this thing's going to work when it actually gets activated. And that's what this episode's going to focus on. If you're interested in watching the full playthrough, you can watch the long video. This video is not really focused on the farming situation. It's not focused on the water problem when we get hit by the 55-day drought, but I will show you the result of 170 beavers with the birthing pod stayed on for 55 days and how much reservoir 1, 2, 3 can deal with something like that. So that comes at the end of this video. But for now, we are looking at redesigning the metal district. We want to be producing all of the metal blocks here. We want to be exporting them from here. So we want to make sure that they've got everything they need to be able to do that. And yes, there are a lot of metal factories that I'm planning. And later on in the video, I do realize that this is going to become a major power draw. I work out that so far, the massive power station that we made at the back is producing about 9,000, and I'm consuming about 8,600 or something like that. The fact is we're getting very close to maximizing out our power draw, and I always like to have the whole map powered by one power source. So there's a bit of work happening over there as well, where the wheels go backwards and forwards again, essentially tripling our power that we need. So once all that starts to work, I'm not so concerned. Here we start to look at transportation. I want this district to be as efficient as it possibly can. We've got that crazy design of a dam, which I go through in more detail on the long video, and that's going to provide water. They can pump their own water out. They can store their own water. They will be able to have their own food, as well as obviously export and import food from other districts as well. And that is something else that we need to look at, is a food district. I'm considering up here actually of having a food district. The only problem is the back reservoir takes so long to fill. It's going to take so long. If there's a massive drought, this is going to have no water in it for a very long time until I can work out an underwater sort of system for the reservoirs to connect. So on day one, all water comes to every district at the same time. But that's in the future. It's a long time in the future. We need metal blocks, and we need them pretty quickly. And it's not happening quickly enough, as you can see from this sped up video. They are bringing that wood and resource all the way from the first district. Yes, they're using metro lines to do it, but it's a very long way. And I was kind of hoping I could get all of the basic infrastructure set up so I could open this district and have them work locally. That's not working, mainly because of the massive drought that happened that killed our food supply. So I'm just kind of playing this episode and just using the resource I've got to be able to get this built as quickly as I possibly can. I also forgot that the resources degrade as well, so I deleted those factories to get metal planks so I could build my district. I'm going to point that out now. So that area that I'm building there is where the district centre is going to go. It needs a lot of metal blocks in order to be able to build it, and it's part of our water system that brings in the water from the large reservoir. With that crazy dam idea that I've got, I don't even know if that's going to work, but when the water comes in there eventually, we'll see what happens. We're also looking at the trees, and I start to think, hold on, that mine, in order to work the most efficient it can, needs bad water. It needs bad water to make extract, which means they'd have to import the extract in from other districts. That's not really going to work for me here. We need to locally source its own extract to make that mine as efficient as it possibly can. But the dangers of bad water is it pollutes all the land around it, and I decide I'm going to build an underground area which will take the bad water on an underground river. We will have pumping stations underground for the bad water. We will also have extract under the water, underground as well. So all of the stuff that's making bad water and extract is going to be locally sourced underneath this district. I've created a path for the water to run off. I want to get it out. I don't want to store it and hold it. And I remembered with this faction of beavers, the Irontails, we can create those, I can't remember what they call them, but they're kind of lids that go over the bad water source. And even in a drought, the bad water will still flow, which is great because it means the electricity will still work and we'll also be able to pump out this extract as well. So here I'm just trying to plot it out. I worked out where the pumping stations go. These are the extract facilities. So I've got 2 extract facilities, and then I start to plan out where the storage is going to go. So we need storage for bad water and we need storage for extract. So we've got 2 bad waters and 2 extract. And then I start to work out, okay, well, how am I going to get the beavers down here? We're going to put the paths in to connect the extract and the pumps and everything together, and I start to go, okay, well, where does this pop up? Well, it pops up right underneath the water storage for the housing. That doesn't work for me, and I go backwards and forwards until I just decide I'm going to create a metro station, and that area is only going to be accessed by the metro. I didn't like where it came out. It's going to be messy. It's going to be really ugly. And at this point, my head hurt of trying to work out where all this stuff's going to go. So I kind of gave up and just put it next to it. And I'll deal with it later, maybe. But the point is, it's all connected. And now we're starting to build that underground area for the bad water. My attention starts to draw to the other side of the district where we're going to plant oak trees. We're going to have a lot of wood here. We need it because we need to make boards, and then we need to make treated planks, and those treated planks get used in the mine to make the mine work efficiently and get as much metal, scrap metal out as we can to power all of those metal factories that I've got built there. There's no point having them if you're not producing enough material to keep them busy all the time. And we'll kind of see that when they're working, and if the mine isn't good enough to keep metal going into those, we'll probably remove some from that. But it's always better to have more than less at this stage of the game. I just kind of want to get this district done. We're now going to start looking at the metro system that goes around the district. I want them to be able to jump on the tube at any point and use it to access every part. So the workers can jump on the metro and get straight to the mine, or they can take the metal blocks to the front where it can be exported to other districts without them having to use the paths. It speeds them up a lot and makes this whole area way more efficient. So I started to plan tube stations in the housing area so they can get to work as quickly as they possibly can, and then start to create that ring, and also the ring for the future. I want all of this land to be usable for something, and planning the metro to have different stops around that is just better to do now and plan for it now rather than put the crops in and force the metro around it. You can see a lot of that work happening on the earlier district. On the very first one I started with, I'm starting to have to force all of this stuff around it. I was lucky that the tube line went straight through to the farm area on the previous build. We then decide that actually we're going to put this tunnel underground for this section. We're going to go down and we're going to go across, and we are then going to just get the beavers underneath all of this nonsense, there's going to be a lot more water passing through here. We're feeding the reservoir, and there's going to be a lot of pathways that intersect backwards and forwards. I didn't want to have to deal with that in the future with this tube line. Certainly when the reservoir comes through, it's possible that I'll create a hole and then just flood everything. And we saw in an early episode, I think it was 4, where I made that mistake before. Don't want to do it again, certainly with the amount of water that's going to be in that large reservoir. So it was just safer to go all the way to the bottom. Now we're just completing the route from the front to the side and making it complete. I'm pretty happy with it, actually. It's turned out, it came together quite nicely. And I think this district, when it's done, is going to look pretty good. I do want to create a lot of recreational spaces in this. I want to make the beavers' lives better. That's probably going to be the next thing I focus on, certainly with all the districts, of making sure they've got entertainment, they're happy. But part of them being happy is having different food types to eat. Right now, they're just living off that disgusting vegetable and mangroves and berries every now and again. We're going to change that up. We're going to focus on making their lives better. I mean, look, they've only got a happiness of 4 right now. That's pretty miserable. And when a drought happens, I mean, it's just miserable, isn't it? And, you know, talking about the drought, it was a 55-day drought and we're 20 days into it. At the end of this video, I'm going to show you how the reservoirs dealt with that, of 170 beavers with the birthing pods on that ran for 55 days. How that's going to stack up if we get hit with 130 days. Those reservoirs right now are keeping them in water. I don't have a lot of water storage, and I probably, on every episode, people are screaming at me, it's going to bite me in the backside because I don't have enough water storage. I think the strategy is going to be get this district running. The large water storage, I believe they need 30 metal blocks to build them. That's why I'm focused so much on that district. We need that unlimited supply of metal. Once we have that, we are going to start building huge water pumping stations and storage solutions. And in the future, I hope they're going to be run 24/7 by bots. The water pumping for that level of storage needs a lot of beavers. This faction doesn't pump water very well at all. The other faction is much better. Now we're just connecting the power. We've done the tube around. I need to get power to the central island to power the metal factories, but I also need to work out how to get power underground to our extract factories that are going to be made in the future. It's going to take a long time to build those, so I'm not too worried about it, but there's no harm in planning that route right now and just get it put in and let the beavers build it in their own time. You've also got to remember that when this does become an active district, the building tasks then will get divvied up between this district and the other district. So setting all this stuff now, I don't expect the first district to be building it. As soon as that aqueduct has been built, I will make the district and turn it on and create a district crossing so they can bring water in from the others and let them build in their own time. So we're now coming to the sort of end. This is kind of this is what the metal district is looking like. This episode, we spent a long time building that and putting that planning together and kind of ignored everything else. On the long video, there is a bit of farming that happens. There is a bit of water irrigation that happens. But now I'm showing you a sped up video of refilling the reservoir. It emptied. There was nothing left. At the end of 55 days, with 170 beavers, reservoir 1, 2, and 3 emptied. But I was interested to see how much 6 pumps and how quickly 6 pumps would fill the reservoir. And that's what you're looking at now. Answer, not very. After 10 days, it just gets to the bottom of reservoir 3, where those pumps could start coming in. So before, with 2 pumps, it took 25 days to fill reservoir 1 and 2. It takes about 10 days now with 6. If we get hit with drought, then 5 days of nice weather and drought again. It has happened to me before. That is the end of the beavers. And that is the end of this episode. Thank you for staying with me. A lot of build had happened on the metal area. We are going to focus on water storage. We're going to focus on creating farming districts in the next one. But until then, take care of each other and yourself. See you soon.